Hello folks and welcome to the Vertigo Tea Party. I've been wanting to do this video for a while. What I'm going to talk about is basically advice that I can give or guidance that I can give to people who want to start LPing or maybe have just started or maybe even people who've been doing it for a while and just want some additional advice. Keep in mind, I do not have a huge channel, so I am not the expert on LPing and getting your channel to be huge. I have a pretty decent size, but I would still consider it small. So keep that in mind. But again, I browsing the Let's Play subreddit frequently, I see a lot of the questions come up. And by the way, I'll put a link to the subreddit in the description below if you want to check it out. But I see the same questions over and over again, and I see people kind of misguided with the way they start off. So I want to kind of give you guys a heads up. Maybe a good start. You can ask questions below if I didn't answer your question in the video. This will be a long one, so strap yourselves in. First off, this is going to be for people who want to kind of bring their LPs to the next level. If you're just like, look, dude, I just want to record myself playing video games and I want to throw it up on the internet. I don't care how many viewers I get at all. This is not for you. Just keep doing what you're doing. I'm not going to be covering any technical aspects. Not going to tell you what equipment you should have. Not going to tell you what you should be using to encode. I'm going to be giving you just general ideas to kind of, again, get you in the right headspace, get your goals set, all that. So anyway, the very first thing that I would suggest that you do is to set goals. What do you want to do with your channel? Do you want to retire and just do LPs? Do you want to do it only for fun? Do you want to maybe make a little bit of extra money? Do you want to have, one video a week, 3 videos a week, 20 videos a week? Set your goals ahead of time. It's better if you write them down either on paper or in a document sitting on the computer so that you can refer to it at some point. But having goals will help you guide everything else. That's why I think it's very important outside of LPs as well. But I think it's important that you have your goals cemented. So because this helps you answer other questions and other decisions that you have to make. It's just much easier to make those decisions if you have goals. Now, with those goals, you must be realistic. A lot of people will tell you, oh, don't ever start LPing with the goal of doing it as your job. You know what? I say you can have that as a goal. However, and this is a huge however, you need to be realistic. There's 1,000 other people out there who've said, I'm going to do LPs as my job. I'll just record myself playing video games and saying funny things, throwing on YouTube, and I'll have thousands of dollars every month, and it'll be easy street. That's not going to happen. Unless you are the funniest, best player in the world, and you are not, then that is not going to happen. And even though you might try to tell yourself, I'm that 1%, man, I'm that 1% that can make this happen, you're probably not. At least not quickly. It's going to take time. So be realistic with your goals. Set long-term goals, set short-term goals. Where do you want the channel to be in a year? Where do you want it to be in 6 months? Where do you want it to be in 30 days? But again, be realistic. The next thing I hear a lot about, or the first thing actually I hear a lot about in the subreddit is, help me pick a game. What game should I LP? Starting off, I would say pick something you're familiar with. Regardless of the type of LP you want to do, blind LPs, post commentary, full walkthroughs, whatever. Starting off, I would suggest picking something whether it's something that's overplayed, whether it's something old, where it's something really obscure that nobody's going to find. Your very first videos, in my opinion, should be games that you're familiar with because you need to focus on your basics. And I'm going to go over that in a minute. But I harp on the forums or on the subreddit, whatever. I harp on focusing on the basics because those are what's going to attract and, more importantly, keep viewers on your channel is those basics. So pick something that's not blind. Pick something that you know. so you can focus on your basics. You don't have to, but then that's just my opinion, because let's be honest, those first few games that you play are not going to be the ones that draw in the crowds most likely. Secondly, don't waste time on trivial shit. I see so many people in the channel who will have very low sub numbers. They've just started off, they've had the channel a month or less, and they're like, oh, I want to make my banners, and I want to work on making my what are they called? The video, the title screens. I want to make my title screens, and I want, get my homepage all set up. Don't worry about any of that shit. None of that is going to help you become better at being an LPer, and none of that is going to get subscribers. None of that is going to get viewers, and don't worry about that shit. You want to do it eventually, because it does make your channel look more professional when it's set up nice. But frankly, again, starting off, people probably aren't going to be finding your videos anyway. So spending hours trying to learn Photoshop so that you can make banners and intros and outros and all that crap, completely unimportant, especially the intros and outros. My God, just let it go on the intros, please, for God's sakes. If you're gonna make an intro, make it short, please. Nobody wants to watch a 10+ second intro. 1 to 2 seconds is a good intro. For a great example, go to Conan O'Brien's site and find his videos where he reviews games, like a non-gamer reviews games. I think his intro is literally a second and tells you everything you need to know. So short intros, great. And outros, I think, are not very useful. But again, they should be short. But don't worry about that stuff to start with, if at all possible. Focus on the basics. So I've been talking about the basics a lot. What are the basics? In my opinion, the basics, that the foundation that really needs to be solid, and I almost say has to be, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. I've seen people who were lacking on the basics and still had popular channels. But anyway, the basics are, in my opinion, audio quality, and that covers both how good you sound, how good the game sounds, and how well mixed they are. So, for example, if the game is too loud and you're too quiet, that's bad audio quality, in my opinion. I lump that under audio quality or audio balancing. You need to figure out a happy medium between having the game loud enough so that the viewers can hear it and be able to hear you speak as well. Video quality, this is a lot easier, especially nowadays. I'm not going to get into technicalities, but if possible for newer games, you should at least have 720p available. You don't have to do 1080p, but if possible, 720p. 480p is really, I don't want to say not acceptable, but most people want at least a 720p video. Again, 1080's great if you have it, but not that important. The next basic is consistent commentary. Now, one common thing or common misconception that I hear is, oh, you should be talking all the time. There should be almost no silence at all. I think that's terrible advice. I hear that all the time in various in the Let's Play subreddit, and I've read it other areas. Is, oh, you can't have silence. You got to talk. You got to be consistent. I think that's BS. I think that's bad advice. I would rather listen to someone who has some silence in their Let's Plays and their commentaries, but they're not just rambling about, what they ate for breakfast or trying to make jokes or trying to sound funny. Because when you're forcing yourself to talk, a lot of times it's obvious. You're making really lame jokes. You're just making noises. You're doing things to try to fill air, and it's annoying as hell. Now, I have personally found that I have gotten better at consistently talking while not just talking about nothing, almost a double negative there. Just naturally as I've done it more and more. But I am very strongly in the camp that you do not need to talk all the time. That said, you can't have huge, frequent sections of dead air either. if you're talking and then 10-second break, talking 10-second break, talking 8-second break, that's bad. That's too much. So there is some leeway there, but don't be under the impression you need to talk all the time. And again, this is something that's going to come with practice. So keep doing it. And again, that's why I say your first games should be things you're familiar with so that you can get in the habit of talking at least semi-consistently while you're playing the game. When I say consistent commentary, I don't mean you're talking all the time. I mean that you are kind of in that flow of thought mode where you're talking about the game, you're talking about why you're playing this game, what you think of the game, why you're making the choices that you're making observations about things that happen in the game, making jokes, whatever it is you're doing, it makes sense and it doesn't feel forced, and obviously forced to your listener. Focus on those basics, which again is audio quality and audio balance, video quality, and consistent commentary. Worry about attracting an audience later. I don't want to see people posting on the subreddit, "Oh, I've had my channel up for a whole 2 months and I've only got 10 subscribers. What's the deal?" You can't look at it like that. There are people who have really good content, have been doing it for a year or more, and have 100 subscribers. So don't think just because you don't have 1,000 subscribers by the end of month 1 that something's horrifically wrong. More and more people are doing LPs, so it's becoming more saturated and much more difficult for smaller channels to be found, especially considering the way YouTube's search algorithm works. So focus on getting good first, because if you're not, let's be honest, if you suck, or if you're not very good, or if you're not significantly better than the next guy doing an LP, or next girl doing an LP, or next woman, whatever, people aren't going to watch you anyway. So even if they find your channel and you've got the great banner, you've got a bitchin' intro, a sweet outro, and all your thumbnails look really well or look really good, people aren't going to stick around if you're not that good. So focus on the basics. Focus on the basics. I can't say that enough, because again, I see it so much in the subreddit, people asking questions, and if they would just focus on the things that need to be worked on, it would help them immensely. And one more note about audio quality. In my opinion, audio quality is probably the number one most important thing. I don't care what your excuse is. Audio quality must be good, or I will not listen to your channel. I don't care if you're the funniest son of a bitch in the world. If you have, there's a dog barking constantly in the background, or your voice is super loud and the game is super quiet, or there's a constant loud static going on, I don't care how funny you are. I don't care how informative you are. I will not listen to you. And I feel that a lot of other folks have that same opinion. So drop your excuses about, I can't afford a good mic, I don't know how to use audio editing software. It does not matter, because that person who finds your channel doesn't give a shit about what excuses you have. They're not going to listen to it, hear that staticky, loud white noise, and think, "Oh, well, he probably can't afford a new mic, or he probably, he doesn't have time to learn audio editing, so I'll listen to it anyway." He's going to listen for 10 seconds, or she's going to listen for 10 seconds, click back, and go watch another video. So your excuses mean nothing. Get that audio quality up to speed. And to kind of end on the audio quality thing, that doesn't mean you need to get an expensive mic. I've heard people with $20 headsets that sound fantastic. Wow. But check the subreddit Let's Play, check the wiki and the links on the right-hand side to help you with audio quality if you're having problems with that. But that needs to be a primary focus. Another thing that you should do if you want to really focus on getting your channel better, and by better, bigger in the process, is ask yourself every single day, what did I do today to improve my channel? Uploading part 27 of your ongoing Let's Play does not count. Outside of the things that you should be doing anyway, what did you do today to improve your channel? Did you learn how to use editing software for audio? Great, that counts. Did you learn some new things about using Sony Vegas? Great, that counts. Did you email some indie developers to try to ask for preview copies? Great, that counts. As long as you're learning or doing something new to improve yourself, to improve your channel, that counts. If every single day is just too much, do it every other day, once a week. Again, this is where your goals come into play, because once you have your goals set, you know how often you'll want to do these things that I'm suggesting, or how rigidly to stick to them. Again, if you're just a guy who wants to upload once in a while, maybe get better, but you don't really care about attracting an audience, you're mostly uploading it for yourself and for a few friends, then you don't really have to worry about this all. Or maybe once a week, you say, well, what did I do once this week to improve my videos? But if you are like me and very, very much enjoy the hobby and would like to someday have a very large channel and you don't want to wait 5 years to do it, then I think every day you should ask yourself, what did I do to improve the channel? Another problem I see is excuses. Excuses all the time. Well, my audio sucks because I have a bad headset and I don't understand how Audacity works. So, well, that's just out. So what else can I do to improve my video? No. You need to fix that audio. There's no excuses. The people who have big channels now are the people who probably did not have many excuses. They just did it because while you're making excuses, while you can't record today, or while you can't release today, or because your video, or why your video sucks, or why your video quality sucks, or why this is bad, or why that is bad, somebody else out there is eliminating those excuses and making their channels better, making their videos better. Does that make sense? And again, viewers don't give a shit about your excuses. They want to see amusing / entertaining content. They don't give a shit that you don't have much money to get a new mic. They don't care that learning how to video edit in the way that you want to is difficult, because they can click right out of your video and go watch someone else's. So leave the excuses at home. As Benjamin Franklin once said, just fucking do it. Next thing you need to prepare yourself for is negativity. There will be people who give you shit on your comments. There will be people who bomb you with thumbs downs on all of your videos. Don't freak out about this. You need to, but on the other side, don't fall into that trap that a lot of people, including myself, will fall into, where you're just like, oh, well, they're just a hater. And by the way, who uses the term hater who isn't a 12-year-old? But anyway, don't fall into that trap that, oh, they're just a hater, they're just a troll, blah, blah, blah. You need to learn the difference between criticism and trolling, right? It's honestly not that hard. Most people, most content creators, if you will, that I have seen tend to have a very bad habit of dismissing any criticism as trolling, or they're just hating on me because I'm successful, or because blah, blah, blah. Do not fall into that trap. If you want to get better, you will learn to take criticism. Now, I am not great at taking criticism, but I can recognize that, and I can kind of check myself before I wreck myself, I suppose, so that I can, while I might be annoyed by it, I'll still read it. Even if the person is a dick about the way they give you the criticism, it still might be valid. They might have just been a dick. And you know what? I have actually found something funny. I saw a discussion in the subreddit once where people were talking about how do you deal with people who give you, say mean things in the comments. Like, well, this video sucked, or, oh, you played terribly right here. Like, you suck at this game, blah, blah, blah. How do you deal with that? It was funny because most people responded with something like, oh, I block them or I ignore them or whatever. I do not ignore them. I respond. And often it depends on the mood I'm in, to be honest. Sometimes I'm very snarky. And sometimes I will just matter of fact say, yeah, you know what? I didn't have my armor on in this video because I was doing something off screen and I forgot to put it back on. I was working on my stealth and my stealth goes higher if I don't have armor on. I forgot about it. You're right. I totally forgot. You would be surprised how many people will respond after saying something really naughty with either something nice or apologize. I've had multiple people. In fact, just yesterday or today, somebody said something pretty snotty to me. I responded, I think, like pretty neutrally, is like, oh, this is why, blah, blah, blah. And they responded back, said, oh, I understand now. I'm sorry that I was kind of a jerk. You would be, this is not like a once in a blue moon thing. This happens semi-frequently. So just because somebody says something negative, when you need to analyze it and think, okay, is this constructive? Is this, like, if I kind of cut through the turds, is there a diamond of information in there that I can use to improve my channel? And secondly, try responding to the person. Again, I like to usually respond to them at least in a half snarky way. I'm not going to say like something like, oh, you stupid fanboy moron, get out of here. But when I respond, I'll say something smart-ass-y, which that's totally a word. And again, you'll be surprised how many of those people will, maybe they won't subscribe to you or whatever, but at least they'll be like, they will either not respond or they'll say, oh, wow, I'm sorry I was rude yesterday. I was having a bad day, whatever. So, but again, you need to distinguish that. And again, along these same lines, there's going to be, once you get bigger, there's going to be people who just really love your channel. Like, whatever it is that you do really clicks with certain people. And some of these people, meaning well, will just give you praise. In fact, they may even attack people who give you negative criticism. You have to nip that shit in the bud. You can't let people fluffing you up. I don't know if that's even the correct way. I know what a fluffer is, but that's totally different. You can't let people blow smoke up your ass. You've got to, I'm not saying being rude to them, like, oh, stop saying nice things to me. But you need to, again, take into account that they just might like everything you do. And as with anything, when you really find something you love, sometimes you're not going to give any negative feedback. And you might even, in fact, respond badly if somebody else gives it negative feedback. I mean, you see that all the time. Being a gaming channel or being gaming fans, I'm sure that you are aware of the ridiculous console wars that have been going for 30 years. Oh, you like Nintendo? Well, screw you. Sega's better. It has blast processing. You like 360? Well, F you. PS3, I don't have to pay to watch Netflix. Whatever. You know how that goes. This happens with channels. It happens with anything. But it happens with channels as well. If you see someone attacking someone else on one of your videos who's giving you feedback that you can use, don't let that shit just go. You need to address it. You need to make sure. I mean, there's no problem with them defending you. If somebody's just being an asshole and they knock back, that's great. But if the person's like, the video or the audio sync was a little bad on this video, and somebody's like, hey, if you don't like it, you don't have to watch. Again, nip that shit in the bud. That should not be acceptable because that person was giving you feedback in a positive way and the other person was attacking them. But anyway, so again, prepare yourself for that. Prepare yourself for the trolls. Prepare yourself for people who are just going to shit all over whatever it is you do because whatever, they're 12-year-olds with keyboards. But again, you need to learn to take constructive criticism or even unconstructive criticism and evaluate it. Another thing you should be thinking of when you're not either making videos or editing or doing whatever, think about how to grow your channel tactfully. And by that, I mean not going to our Let's Play, dumping your playlist, and then never going back to Let's Play until the next week where you can dump it again. And I also don't mean going to specific game forums and spamming your channel and shit. Think of it this way. How many times have you been on a forum or a chat room or whatever, and someone just randomly popped in and said, hey, you should check out my Minecraft videos, posted a link, and then disappeared? How many times have you actually clicked the link? How many times do you think other people have clicked that link? Pretty much 0 times. Unless it was on an accident. So don't do that. It's just rude, and it's not going to get you positive growth as opposed to negative growth, I suppose. So what do I mean then? How can you grow your channel tactfully? There's a few ways, and again, you have to kind of, and not to overuse this or use this overused cliche phrase, but you need to think outside the box. Look for opportunities and then grab them when you can. For example, I started doing a Planescape Torment LP because there was a Kickstarter for a new Planescape game. So I thought, I never played Planescape Torment. I bet a lot of people haven't either. I'll go ahead and not only do this, but also try to do my very small part to support this Kickstarter, because I was honestly interested in it, because it's by the same guys who made Fallout 1, which I absolutely adore. So I started thinking, well, the main guy who is ahead of this Kickstarter is on Twitter. So, and he's still trying to, get this Kickstarter money. So I thought, okay, well, here's an idea. I'll tweet at him with a link to my Let's Play and say, hey, I'm glad to be supporting your Kickstarter by doing this Let's Play. I've got, links in the description. If you're bored, check it out. And I figured, he might respond, he might not. I'm sure he's very busy. I'm sure he's got a lot of other things going on. So I didn't get anything for 24 hours. So I didn't think anything of it. Okay, fine. He's busy, whatever. So one day I wake up and I see tons of new subscribers and tons of new views on my Planescape video. I was like, whoa, what happened? So I went and checked, and sure enough, he had tweeted, 2 days later, like, hey, there's a player doing a walkthrough of the first Planescape game. You should go check it out. So that actually helped me. So little things like that can help. You just need to pay attention and try to be, again, as tactful as possible. I wasn't about to just tweet him and say, hey, can you retweet my Let's Play? Because honestly, I think that's just cheesy. I just sent him, I think I sent him a direct message, or not a direct message, but I just, sent him a message, at Brian Fargo, said, hey, I'm doing this. And just as a one mention, I wasn't ever going to mention it again. Wasn't going to bug him about it. And there I went. I've tried things like that before, and it didn't work. Like, for example, Tomb Raider has a Twitch or Twitter account. I've tweeted that, hey, I've got my Let's Play here, just FYI. And I don't think I even tweeted it at them. I think I just included them in the tweet and sent it because I knew they'd see it and thought, well, if they retweet this, that'll be great. If not, then oh well. They didn't retweet it. Oh well. You got to take as many opportunities as you can. Many people will say that getting popular in LPs is a lot of luck. And I believe that that's true, but I also think you make your own luck, right? Sure, some of these guys might have done, every guys and girls might have done, just completely 100% lucked into things. But if you really want to succeed, you need to maximize your opportunities for luck. Just like I did. I'm tweeting at the developers and tweeting at the publishers, mentioning that, hey, I'm doing an LP of this game. And sometimes they retweet. Most of the times they don't. But again, you got to make your own luck. You got to look for these opportunities to come up, and you need to utilize them, again, tactfully, if at all possible. And focus on other things too, like such as learning how to tag your videos, learning how to title and put your descriptions in such a way that they'll come up higher in the YouTube search. Again, all of these little things are things that you should investigate. I'm not going to cover all of them because it would be literally impossible to do that. But again, check the Let's Play subreddit. The description, again, is in the information bar below. I'll put links and check the right sidebar for further links to information on this, among other things. You should also consider, what type of channel do you want to have? Do you want to focus on one type of game? Do you want to just do, Call of Duty and Minecraft? Do you want to do a wide range of games? Do you want to focus on blind LPs? Do you want to do non-blind? Do you want to do 100% runs? Do you want to do post commentary? Do you want to do live commentary? Think about all these things now, but keep in mind, of course, any of these things can change. So if you start off wanting to do blind live commentary and say, you know what, this is just not working out. Wow. And I want to try post. Just do it. Again, early on is the best time to do that because you don't have that many subscribers, if you have any, anyway. So you might as well use that time to experiment with different things, to find out how you want your LPs to be. Don't listen to people who will say things like, oh, well, blind LPs are stupid. Don't do those. Everybody does that. Or don't ever do post commentary or blah, etc. You'll hear 100 different camps. Well, here's my opinion. There's two main camps of LP viewers. There's the people who want blind LPs with live commentary, and there are those who want the more experienced playthrough, live commentary or post commentary. They probably don't care too much about, but they're more interested in seeing someone play a game that person is familiar with, and showing them, okay, this is how you should build your character. This is where you find the hidden items, whatever. That's obviously there is more than those two camps, and there's obviously crossover. But from my experience, most people will fall into one of those two buckets. So just decide, and neither one is better than the other. A lot of people love to disparage blind live commentary LPs, and quite frankly, I think they do it. I don't want to say jealousy, because the whole jealousy thing is totally overused, but they always do it in a snotty manner. So it's almost as if they think they're better because they're doing a post commentary. That's bullshit. Don't fall for it. Doing blind with live commentary is quite difficult, and maybe that's not something that you're good at, and maybe it's something that would take you a very, very long time to get good at. So maybe you want to do post commentary, or maybe you just want to play games that you're already familiar with. It doesn't make one better than the other. Personally, I prefer blind LPs. But I don't think that people who do post commentary, I don't think those are terrible LPs. I personally just don't like them. So I won't watch, or I usually don't watch people who do post commentary or are just walking through a game that they're super familiar with. But again, that's just me. There's plenty of people who do. So find which one you want to focus on, or some combination or something else totally different. But just decide what you want to focus on it, and then if you find it's not working, mix it up a bit, try something different. The very last thing I want to say, because I know this is already about 40 minutes long, is to improve yourself, you really should listen to your own or watch your own LPs, and try to have friends who you believe can be impartial. Have them watch them as well, because you really need impartiality, if that's a word. You need that when either you are watching or your friends are watching. The problem with you watching is that unless something is glaring, a lot of times you will either A, give yourself like too much leeway. You're like, well, that's not a big deal, when you really shouldn't be. Or you can be too critical of your own work, nitpicking things that nobody else is going to care about. So that's why it's important to get a third party. Again, if it's going to be a friend, make sure to tell them you want constructive criticism. You don't want them just to say, oh yeah, it sounds great, I love it. What can you improve? If they're not giving you feedback on what you can improve, and you've only just started, get new people. Because unless you're just happen to be a natural savant at this, then you almost certainly are going to have areas for improvement. One place you can do that is, again, in the subreddit. Now, some people frown on that, on posting videos and asking for feedback. I think personally that's absolutely ridiculous. I think as long as you post it and actually pay attention to the feedback, then I think that's fine. Because there are people, and I think they're in the minority, who will post, oh, can you guys give me evaluation? And then never ever go back to that thread. they're basically using that as a way to get free views, which is absolutely ludicrous. Because if they think that people are going to subscribe to their channel because they, listen to their one-off video for criticism, then they are going to be sorely, sorely disappointed. So if you post a video like that, whether it's in the subreddit or whatever community you want to post it to, make sure you're active in the thread. If somebody posts feedback, even something very short as, hey, thanks for taking the time to watch this. Because keep in mind, if your video is 10 to 20 minutes long, you're asking for 10 to 20 minutes of someone's time to watch your video, critically analyze, and then give you feedback. So again, even if something as simple as saying, hey, thank you for watching this, I'll take this feedback to heart. Or, well, that feedback was good, but this is why this was this way. Whatever, just as long as you're active and not combative. This doesn't happen a lot, but every now and then someone will post for feedback, but then kind of get hostile or super defensive when they actually get negative feedback. So don't fall into that trap. Again, your natural reaction will probably be to defend yourself, but just try to be open when you listen to this feedback, whether it's from this forum for the subreddit or again, wherever you're posting it to. But again, starting off, you definitely should be watching your own LPs and try to honestly think to yourself, would I watch this if I just found this randomly on the internet? If not, why? What's wrong with it? What would turn me away from this? Keeping in mind that most people will click on a video, watch it for 15 to 20 seconds, and if they're not hooked yet, they'll click away. So very quickly, you need to draw them in because most people aren't going to click and watch your 20-minute video at random. So keep that in mind as well. Another thing that I suggest is to find LPers who you really like. Take like maybe your top 3 favorite Let's Players. Watch some of their videos. What is it about them that you really like? And I'm not saying to copy them. Do not just copy them. But what is it that makes them your favorite? What is it about them and their videos that when you see a new video from them in their subscription box makes you think, oh yes, so-and-so posted a new video. I can't wait to watch it. What is it about it? Is it the comedy? Is it how well they play the game? Is it, how it just their overall commentary? Figure out what it is that you like. And again, don't just emulate it, but find what's good for you and go with that. For example, some of my favorite LPers are one who are very informative when they play. In other words, they talk about what they're thinking. Like, okay, I'm going with this type of build on my RPG character because I prefer damage, and I find that high damage is best overall. So so that is the style that I personally go with as well. Just again, no, don't mimic, but pick out some important I'm kind of stumbling trying to say this because there is a very thin line between flat out stealing someone's method versus kind of copying a style. I think you basically just have to find that middle ground. And to use a very popular YouTuber, and I don't want any comments about how much you love or how much you hate this person. I do not care. I'm using this for demonstration purposes only. PewDiePie is probably one of, if not the most popular Let's Player type person out there. And a lot of people saw his success, saw the way he made his videos, and try to emulate them. They ended up putting the face cam on. They fake reactions. Not saying he fakes reactions, but I'm saying they might fake reactions, or maybe not fake them, but they go overboard because they think that's what they need to do. Whatever. Try to copy things that he's done, and they have not found success because they're not going to do it as good as he does. So there is that difference between finding the good parts and saying, oh, I want to do that too. I want to be more informative in my LPs, and saying, oh, that guy is really popular. I want to copy what he's doing. Big difference. Learn it and figure out what's going to get your channel larger. That's a terrible way to word that. You know what I mean. I'm harping now. Anyway, that is going to do it. I know this was a super long video. Very few people have probably watched it all the way to the end. However, for those of you out there who are just starting out as LPs, or maybe you're doing this for a year or two and maybe you found something useful, I'm glad that I could be useful in some way. and hopefully my information will help you grow your channel, make you into a better LPer. Just let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you thought of this video. Again, if you have any questions that are not technical, post those in the comments as well. I might do some technical type LP videos as well to show you how I do things, because I do get some questions on that. But if this has kind of helped you get on the right track for your channel, definitely let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear it. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.